prices up. So what I can see happening is we're going to take some beef because I have to get the price down. I want to get most prices are down. If you look at energy and all the, I have things down, but beef is high, and the cattle ranchers are doing good. They backed me from day one. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that they don't get hurt, but we have to also make sure that I get the prices down. I want to get the prices down like I did with eggs, like I did with lots of others. We had a couple of them where when I first took over, eggs were double and quadruple what they were. That was Biden's fault. A lot of this is Biden's fault, too. And we're going to get the price of beef down, and I'm going to make sure the cattle ranchers don't get hurt.
Mr. President, you talked about North Korea on your way here. Have you heard anything back from Kim Jong-un?
I haven't mentioned it. I haven't said anything, but I'd love to meet with him if he'd like to meet. I got along great with Kim Jong-un. I liked him. He liked me. If he wants to meet, I'll be in South Korea.
Would you extend your trip in order to try to meet Kim? Would you extend your trip in Asia in order to meet with him?
Well, I hadn't thought of it, but I think the answer would be yeah, I would do that, sure.
When you do,
it's our last stop.
When
so it's pretty easy to do. Yeah, I would do that.
When you do meet with him, sir.
With Kim Jong-un?
Yes. What does the U.S. have to offer him?
I didn't say I was meeting with him, but if he'd like to meet him around, I'll be in South Korea, so I can be right over there.
But what could the U.S. offer him at this point?
Well, we have sanctions. Well, that's pretty big to start off with. I would say that's about as big as you get.
Anything as like an inducement to do a deal?
I just had a good relationship with him. I would love to see him if he wants to, if he even gets this message. We haven't mentioned anything, but he knows I'm going over there. If he'd like to meet, I'd love to meet him.
Are you concerned about flights being halted at LAX due to shortages for air traffic controllers? Is there a way we could pay them?
Yeah, there is, but the Democrats should just do a simple extension. The Democrats are holding it up. They want $1.5 trillion for people that came out of prisons, for illegal aliens that come into our country. We don't want to do that because that will really hurt the health care that we have in our country. And frankly, we'd like to see better health care, period. We're not looking to do that. The Democrats can solve that problem with air traffic control. All they have to do is say, the country's open. We only need 5 votes. The Republicans are with us. We only need 5 votes. So let's see what happens. I would imagine that gets taken care of. Not only the controllers, but other people too.
How is your relationship with Elon these days? And is there a Doge 2.0?
I saw that during Charlie's beautiful tribute. Elon came up. It's good with Elon. I like Elon. I've always liked Elon. Elon's good.
Have you talked to him since the memorial?
On and off a little bit, yeah, very little, nothing much. Look, he's a nice guy, and he's a very capable guy. I've always liked him. He had a bad spell, he had a bad period, he had a bad moment. It was a stupid moment in his life, very stupid. I'm sure he'd tell you that. But I like Elon, and I suspect I'll always like him.
Sir, what are your thoughts on the continued protests outside immigration centers in Chicago?
Well, when people come into our country illegally, especially in terms of speed, the very bad ones, like murderers, because we've had murderers came in through the Biden administration. We have very tight borders now, but we had open borders. Incredibly, we had open borders. What were they thinking? But we have murders. Over 11,000 murderers came in. Many of them murdered more than one person. We want those people out. We want people that were in prisons. We want them to go back to their prison, not our prison. We want them out, and get them out. Get them all out.
Do you think deportations are happening?
It's really a terrible mistake that was made. When you think of it, so much of our time is spent on that subject, and it's a big subject because there's probably 20 or 25 million people, the real number. And of the 25 million people, it's, millions of people should not be here. Now, all of them shouldn't be here if they came in illegally, but we have to get the criminals out. Washington, D.C. is doing great. Memphis is starting to do great. We just started there 2 weeks ago. Any place we touch is going to do well. If I were a governor, I'd say, please get your people in, whether it's National Guard or the military. Get them in.
Is there a deadline?
And as you know, we've been winning those cases.
Is there a deadline for San Francisco to get their crime rates down before you send
Yeah, I'd like to do it, but, I have a lot of very important people that are really into San Francisco that are really trying to do it themselves. I said, we can do it better because we have a strong group, a tough group, a group that has powers that other people don't have. Locally, you don't have the powers that the federal government has, and we can do a better job of it faster. But I listened to a few of the people, Jensen, who's fantastic, from NVIDIA, as you know, and Mark he owns Time Magazine, among a lot of other things, right? He's a good man. And they would love to give it a shot. And I say, go ahead, do it. And I would have done that with Chicago, but Chicago is very far along the way. We have to do something with that. If I have a lot of friends influential in Chicago, if they call me, maybe I do the same thing, but we have to save Chicago immediately. We can do that pretty easily, but we have to get in quickly.
Can I go back to Argentina quickly?
Yeah.
What do you think the state of the fiscal situation is there now? Do you think you'll have to do another
Well, we have the old-time
deal?
expert right here. I think right now we've made a lot of money based on that election because the bonds have gone up, the whole debt rating has gone up. That election made a lot of money for the United States. Now, we're not in that for money per se, but if you look at the value of the bonds, the debt, Scott, you go ahead.
Yeah, I think the great victory in this election, President Milei, I think he is going to expand his coalition, and they have some big refinancings next year. But the Argentinian people have spoken. President Trump, that they know that the U.S. is their ally. Thanks to President Trump, we're behind them, and that they're going to be able to fix their fiscal and keep on the road. He's working against 100 years of bad policies, and he's going to break them thanks to the support for the United States.
And we're helping other South American countries also, as you know.
Will they need more support, or would you consider it if they need
They
it?
might. Yeah, we would consider it.
Yeah,
I think they'll be a good ship.
Yeah, we think the market's going to do it from here now that he's gotten over this. As I always said, this was a bridge. We've bridged him. Thanks to President Trump's support, he did better than anyone ever expected. The Corona said it wasn't a fair election because we were running against Donald Trump too. And now I think the market is going to take care of itself and it's going to have a lot of confidence in his policies and the way forward.
The polls were very wrong on that election. I mean, the polls really got it wrong. That was an election they said was going to be lost, and not only was it won, but it was won by a lot. And maybe we did help. I hope we helped.
Sir, for you or Secretary Rubio, over the weekend, Israel assassinated a military official of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement. Does that violate the ceasefire law between Israel and Hamas, or are they treated as a separate group?
You're talking about the strike against the Palestinian Jihad individuals?
Yes.
Yeah, look, Israel didn't surrender its right to self-defense. Obviously, the ceasefire is based on obligations on both sides. By the way, we'd also like to see Hamas speed up the return of hostage bodies. We still have 13 hostages, 2 Americans included. But we don't view that as a violation of the ceasefire. They have a right. There's an imminent threat to Israel, and all the mediators agree with that.
How transparent is the Trump administration? You got Scott, you got Jameson, you got Marco. We're not saying you please don't ask this question. You can ask anything you want. There's never been anything like this. Do you agree with that?
Well, I just wanted to ask a clarifying question from my earlier thing. You said 5 Fed candidates. That's Waller, Hassett, Warsh, Ryder, and Bowman, right?
Reader, and Bowman.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to clarify. Whether a surprise 5th, and you've added a surprise 6th occasionally with Secretary Bessent.
He likes what he's doing too.
All right.
I don't think
doing.
you couldn't pull him out of there no matter what. It's like Caroline. How's Caroline doing? Good? Would you say she's doing good or just okay? I think she's good.
She's been very gracious to me.
I'm the one who brought them all back here. You
Yes,
should be
no,
thanking
I
me.
said-
We wouldn't be here right now. She's doing great.
When do you think you'll make a decision on the last Fed question?
I'd say maybe by the end of the year.
Before Christmas, right around.
I think by the end of the year. Early next year, but by the end of the year. We want to get too late out as soon as possible.
Sir,
We want to be too early with too late.
Sir, Steve Bannon said in a recent interview that there could be plans for you to be able to run and potentially win a 3rd term in 2028. Is that something you'd be willing to challenge in court to be able
Well, I
to do?
haven't really thought about it. We have some very good people, as you know, but I have the best poll numbers I've ever had. I mean, I just solved 8 wars, and a 9th is coming. I believe Russia, Ukraine will happen. But we just did. We just left, and when when you look at the treaty we just did, that was a war. That was thousands of people were already shot at the border. And when you look at what we just did, was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. We got a lot of good credit, and I really have to thank Malaysia for that, because they really, the Prime Minister and everybody really helped get the two countries together. But it was quite a great peace treaty. But that was one of 8, and makes me feel good. I mean, it's millions of people that we saved. I saved the lives of millions of people. That's what's important. Yeah.
Who are the very good people?
They are good people.
You said that for 2028, there are very good people. Who do you have in mind?
Oh, we have great people. I don't have to get into that, but we have one of them standing right here. We have JD, obviously. The vice president is great. I think Marco's great. I think, I'm not sure if anybody would run against us. I think if they ever formed a group, it would be unstoppable. I really do. I believe that. I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers.
So you're not ruling out a third term?
Am I not ruling it out? You'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't. They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. If you give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
You read off Walter Reed mentioned advanced medical imaging. Did you get an MRI? Can you tell us what that was?
I got an MRI. It was perfect. Yeah.
Can you tell us
I gave you the full results. We had an MRI, and in the machine, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. Yeah.
Can you say what in particular they were looking for?
You could ask the doctors. In fact, we have doctors traveling with us, but I think they gave you a very conclusive. Nobody has ever given you reports like I gave you. And if I didn't think it was going to be good, either I would let you know negatively, I wouldn't run, I'd do something. But the doctor said some of the best reports for the age, some of the best reports they've ever seen.
One theory on how you might try to serve a third term is that you could run as the vice president.
Yeah, I'd be allowed to do that.
Is it the White House's or the White House counsel's or his legal position, I guess?
You'd be allowed to do that, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. I think it's too cute. Yeah, I would rule that out because it's too cute. I think the people wouldn't like that. It's too cute. It's not. It wouldn't be right.
Sir, a golf-related question. Do you mind? Your personally the most difficult shot for you in golf?
Right now?
Well, yeah. How will you play it?
The most difficult shot. It used to be chipping, but I've become a very good chipper. I hit them all pretty good. I'm a pretty good golfer. I won 38 club championships. That's pretty good. And pretty much I hit. I'm very solid, very consistent, pretty long. I mean, I hit the ball pretty long. I play with Gary Player. Gary's 90, and he shot 70 with me the last time we played, which is pretty amazing from 16.
Putting is pretty good for you?
Putting used to be, I'd say putting used to be the best, but I'd say putting is pretty good.
Sir, can I ask just one more trade question? There were some tweaks to the Vietnam deal where they're going to have some zero tariff items that can come into the United States.
Yeah.
Why was that change made?
I don't know.
That's just there's a handful of things like coffee, etc. The type of stuff we don't make in the United States or grow, like climatologically we can't. So it makes sense if people are going to do a deal with us, we'll give them a good deal there. But overall, 20% on Vietnam.
And we want to get coffee down a little bit.
So just to clarify, technically, that was stuff that was at 20 and now will be brought to 0. Is that?
Well, it's just brought to whatever congressional level of tariff there is, right? I mean, this is, we have a huge deficit with Vietnam, and so they've taken down all their tariffs to 0 on everything.
All gone.
All the non-tariff barriers are gone. They're going to accept all our autos, all our standards, all of that. We have 20%.
Which, by the way,
on
people
that.
said impossible to get.
They did say impossible.
They're all gone.
Yep. And
And so we just have a few items like that that we can't grow or extract from the ground in the United States. Certain spices, right, that don't grow in America, that kind of thing.
How worried are you still about the risk of transshipment through Vietnam from China?
So part of the deal, they've agreed to a duty evasion agreement with us, and if we catch them doing it, we can charge an additional 40%, right?
On top of the 20?
That's right, yeah. And that's an executive order that's already in place. So.
You guys have a very interesting couple of days. We have Japan, and then we have South Korea, but we have China coming, and it's going to be very interesting. I have a lot of respect for President Xi, and we are going to, I think we're going to come away with a deal, but I really feel good. Our country is doing so well economically. It's doing so incredibly well. The Democrats should let it open. I guess they don't do that because it's doing so well. It's too bad, but on the macro scale, it's not having that kind of an effect. We just want people to get paid. We think it's very unfair. And how about the man that put up $130 million to make sure our military got paid?
You won't tell him?
I won't tell you, but this is a person that called me that said, sir, I'd like to make a contribution of any difference needed for the United States military. I said, I don't know, that could be a big number. And we worked it out. It was about $130 million. And he wrote a check for $130 million because he's an unbelievable patriot. And that's what it's all about. So we're going to have a good time over the next 2 days. Get a little rest.
One quick one, sir.
I haven't been watching it too much, the World Series. No, I'm disappointed. They didn't put Pete Rose in. I said, put Pete Rose in before he dies. He had over 4,000 hits. They didn't do it. And with all the gambling you see now, I mean, give me a break. They didn't put Pete Rose in. I asked the commissioner, put Pete Rose in, commissioner, long before he died. Like a year before he died, they didn't get it done. Should have gotten it done. Pete Rose was a great baseball player.
One quick one. Just you said yesterday that you might invite China to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
When would that be?
Well, sometime after. I'm going to go. We pretty much agreed that I'll be going to China.
When is that?
In the earlier part of the year.
Okay.
And President Xi will be coming into maybe Washington or Palm Beach or someplace sometime after that.
Vietnam said that you accepted an invitation there as well. Do you plan on visiting
Well, he
Vietnam?
invited me. If I can, I will. We have a good relationship with Vietnam. And they've made a lot of money with the United States over the years with presidents that really didn't know what they were doing. But now, as you know, Vietnam is not charging us tariffs. And that's a big step. And based on that, I would.
And on Friday,
that's a big move.
On Friday, Ambassador Greer launched a 301 on whether China reneged on its Phase 1 deal. Part of these talks, would you pause that? How connected is that to the Thursday talks?
It may be a part of the talk, but it may be a part of just the negotiation.
That was a separate deal from before, and there's a lot of view in the United States that they didn't keep aspects of that deal. So we're just looking into it. That's continuing, but we're really focused.
If all works out well, I'm sure they'll be able to talk us out of it. You agree?
We'll see.
I think so.
Up to you, sir.
I have a feeling they'll talk us out of it.
You've long said that you have a great relationship with Xi Jinping. You really get along. Yeah. Could you just elaborate on that? What about your relationship is so great, and what about him are you really drawn to?
We were obviously that was hurt pretty badly by COVID when COVID came in through Wuhan. Everybody knows that. I always said it. I said it right from the beginning. So that had an impact, but an impact for a lot of reasons. Number one, we didn't get to speak as much because we're all busy getting out of that nightmare. But no, I think I have a very good relationship, as good as anybody, and I would say that likewise with him. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it.
Sorry about that, folks. For the YouTubers, I had to start out muted just so that you felt like you were home. Okay, just so you know. I've gotten much better at that, by the way, and haven't been censoring myself as much. I hope you all had a great weekend. I was just saying I had a wonderful weekend. I had family in from out of town. Spent some quality time together. Thank you, Caroline. I got the mute off. But that was for the YouTubers coming on late. And where you been, my friends? I had to get that channel back to get you back on with me. And thank you. My hubby thought it was crazy listening and taking notes, Barbara. Dave, thank you for all you did back then and continue to do. Thank you very much. Glad you're back on YouTube. Thank you, Sue. Let's see. So many of you. Catherine, good to see you. Let's see. Gail Miller, very cool. Snedathons. Gail, original Sneds where 8-hour shows were the norm, and keep going. Yeah, I'm trying to get these shows down to 2 hours. I didn't do a very good job with that last week because most of them were 3 and 3.5 hours long. But I've definitely shortened them. Ready for some Q drops, Barbara? Awesome. Mike, welcome, welcome. I'm just focusing on the YouTubers. It's been a minute. Joe, Jason Wagner, good to see you, brother. It's been a minute. Yeah, we had a lot of great stuff. Great to see you back. So Dave and Todd helped me so much. That was my goal. I believe Dave saved a lot of people with his and Todd's intel. Thank you, Arnie. Well, I've been told that I've helped a lot of people and saved a lot of people from the jab and so forth. And so Angel's Wings is over on YouTube. Good to see you. It's the best day ever to see the IndoctriNATION pop up. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Deborah, great to see you again, Dave and everyone. Very cool, very cool. Good to see you, one and all. Yeah, Silver Girl, my indoctrination tea is on me tonight. Fantastic. Silver Girl, thanks for all the great content. I got a couple of your shares up tonight. Hey, it's Dave. I always thought about you and wondered what happened to you, Dave. I'm so glad you're back. Well, YouTube terminated my channel, many channels. 2 of them I have back, by the way. Thank you, Smacking Sass. And I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. Yeah, I think Trump looks great. I think he's doing awesome. I think, yeah, we've seen some tiredness, right? And my indoctrination tea is still in its bag, safe and sound. All right, interesting. Great to be back on YouTube, Dave. I just wore my Sned indoctrination T-shirt this past week. Folks, are they the most comfortable T-shirts you have in your closet? Because I know mine are. Yeah, so good to see you all, and very cool. Yeah, please give a thumbs up over on YouTube. I appreciate that because that will help lift me. So let me take you on a little back to YouTube journey here. It's they successfully separated a lot of us, wouldn't you say? Because many of us are creatures of habit. So we go on YouTube and we try to find our shows and our content. But all of a sudden, one of them is gone. So you go on to the next one or go on to the next one. And it's frustrating that so many of us have been separated by this ridiculous censorship that YouTube is now starting to lift. So it's good to finally be back on. And let me see if I can get us back to that. So I am on. Here we go. This YouTube channel, Dave Snedeker, and that's got 10.8 thousand subscribers. That I, just lost 10, almost 11,000 subscribers gone. Have to restart, have to reboot every single time. And this has happened to me 28 times. The problem is, that looks very interesting how that's coming together. That's kind of like we're going back in time here. So I've got that channel back, and I've also I was just given let me see another channel back, and I'll share that with you probably tomorrow. No, I'll share it with you now, but I'll share it on my post tomorrow. The David Snedeker post, YouTube. So Dave Snedeker and David Snedeker are back on YouTube, that they've given me back. Now I have to request, I have to go in and I got to request, I got to jump through all the hoops. So a lot of these channels, I got to track down like what email I use, because you have to use a different email each time. So I got to track down all that stuff. I know that we had the quilting channel, we had a lot of other channels, but it's nice to start getting these back. And this one had 6.73 thousand. And there's 74 videos on there. There's about a little over 106, I think, on the one that you're watching from on YouTube. And so, but what I want to let everybody know is that a way to avoid us being separated ever again is the following: Snedheads, SNEDHEADS.com. And I've created a social media platform that I was telling you I've been wanting to do for years and years. And it's a fantastic social media site. We have over 650 who are involved. It's free to join, but if you want to support me, it's $17 a month if you want to support this platform, because this platform takes a lot to keep going. You know, the host, the memory, the you know, all this stuff, the upkeep, et cetera, et cetera. Adding new shows. This is Jasper is my dog, for those of you who haven't seen me in a while. My puppy, he's about 1 year and 7 months. He's awesome. You might see him later tonight. Mr. Whistle Whiskers still alive and kicking, and he comes on quite a bit. But if you go over to snedheads.com and you sign up, it's what you'll find is that people are using their name, they're using their face, because this is a private small town social media site that I created for us. And so you'll see a lot of great posts. Heather Willard, Diana Trott. I'll show some of these tonight. Kathy Drexler. And so you'll see some great posts. But you got to go to, when you get on, you got to go on to and find the people. Find add friends. Right? You go to add friends. And the more you friend, and everybody's a Snedhead, everybody's awesome. And there's a level of accountability to this site where, you know, there's the only censorship is if you're an asshole, you're going to get kicked out. But, you know, you can post, you know, what you believe. It can't be like mainstream bullshit propaganda, as you already know that, but my listeners would never post that kind of stuff anyway. Jan Sayer there, I gotta and when you post your picture, that's when I'll friend you. And so it's pretty awesome, and some beautiful people there, some beautiful posts. It's free to join, so you can read all of this, but you have to join to post, because that keeps the assholes away. And that's really important. Jan Hasselbush right there. Oh, I missed one. Let me go back one. So, and then you've got breaking news up here in the upper right. John Evan, that you can click on, and it'll take you right to X. Breaking with the upcoming feature, users on the site will no longer be able to hide where their account is from under the new Twitter X profile settings. Only 2 options will be available, as you can choose to display either your country or your country's region. This is huge, and we've reported on this last week, but it's really, we're going to see where these people are coming from, especially with the big Israel push and the big, which, by the way, I kept fighting Elon. I kept tagging him and saying, you know, what's up with this? I've got, you know, people that I follow but all I'm seeing are pro-Israel posts, and I believe I reposted this, so I got to go to my part here. Let me get to there, so here we go. This is Diana shared this. I said, we found a significant bug, or Elon said, we found a significant bug in the X for your algorithm that resulted in users seeing far fewer posts from people that they follow. It should be fixed by tomorrow. Also, based on user suggestion, we are adding a setting for your following feed to see either everyone you follow or only the highlights. That should make the following feed much more usable. And Diana said, Elon, thanks for listening to Dave Snedeker about this algorithm anomaly. Dave has been noticing the platform for weeks and has thousands of the IndoctriNATION followers too. Me as well. We love that you really care. So thank you, Diana, for reposting that. It's already different. It's already been very different. But here's what I want to stress, and that is that you don't have to deal with that with Snedheads. And you can communicate. We've got research, Q tabs, all the Q alerts, QAG, QAnon, capital letter counter. You got a Grok search engine here, Ingersoll Lockwood, US debt clock, Gematria calculator, Doge. I've got windows to the world. Just takes a moment to load. But all my the top stuff that I follow. Rawls alerts, Vigilant Fox. Some of these are like, I don't, like them all, but they're pretty amazing. And so you can see, basically my highlights of X up on here in terms of, who I follow. And then if you go back to news feed, you'll see over here, you'll see my X feed. So you'll be able to follow all this stuff I post on X. And you don't even have to go into X. You could just scroll down and you can see the post I just read. And if you're using this on your phone, you just need to get past my X feed and the show from last night. But you'll see the stuff I post on X right here. So a lot of other cool stuff, X and Truth feeds. If you want to, get to my X, get to Scavino. Get to President Trump on Truth. If you want to go to the White House, you click on any of these, that'll take you there. And then if you want to upgrade, you have to first add funds. You click up here, and that'll take you to this. And you put in your down here, securely save your card for seamless payments. And you put down for your membership down here, you put your credit card, your 3-letter, and your expiration over here on the right side. And then after you do that, and you put either 17 a month or the 170 for the year, which is 2 free months, then you can post away to your heart's content. And then you go back to upgrade, and then you pick the one that you want to do. Okay, you can see I'm subscribed for a year. And then if, donation link, if you want to support the work I do, it'll take you to there, and you can use all kinds of different options here to support my work. And so at any rate, that was a quick walkthrough. But the reason why I created that is because we can't really trust any of the social media platforms, especially given the fact that they are tracking us, they're listening to us, they're watching us, they're using our information. And now in the age of AI, they're plugging our information's automatically plugged into putting your information in there so that they could market the hell out of you. So nothing's sacred anymore, my friends. And let's see. Pamela, I'll check into that. Thank you for that. When you say you sent, how did you send it, Pamela? So I can truly. And by the way, if you guys have any problems logging into Snedheads or any of that, when you send me an email, which you can do DaveSned at Gmail, ideally, but please be specific. That way, that way. All right, buddy. You all right? Come on, get out of there. All right, let me. Jasper was just wanting to lay down, but he pulled over something. There we go. Yeah, be as specific as possible, and then I can help you as best I can. But thank you guys. Yeah, I am not on TikTok, Barbara, but after this, this tour of the Far East, I probably will be, because we will have control over it. Now, Ellison is getting it. I'm a little concerned about Ellison and his connection with Israel. He's the first or second largest donor to Israel, private donor. He's right up there with Miriam Adelson and etc. Yeah, the salt lamp's right there. You got it right back there, Patty. Good to see you, Patty. It's been a minute. Okay, and so yeah, just let me know where you sent that, Pamela, please. That dollar amount, because then I'll have to. If you did it through one way, then I have to help you do it, right? So at any rate, yeah, Ascended Grace, thank you. Good to be back on YouTube. And I got to tell you, folks, it's been, it was very difficult on YouTube, because every time I build up an audience, I'd lose it. And so I have been broadcasting to Rumble. And this is what my account looks like over on Rumble, because Rumble didn't censor me. And they allowed me a platform. So I have I've been doing four to five shows a week for a couple years now, since I've been back. And almost all of those are on Rumble. So that's like, I don't know where we're at, maybe 400 videos at this point. I'm not sure. How do you find that out? Please give a thumbs up on Rumble, folks. We got about 380 over there. And so we've had, I've had my Rumbleites have really, shown up and connected with me in great ways. And also we are on X at Dave Snedeker. So you can find me over there if you guys are on X. So it's good to reconnect with so many of you, and I hope that you're well. I hope that you are weathering the storm. It's definitely been a long journey for us all. I want to just give a shout out to Spiritual Street Fighter, and Spiritual Street Fighter lets me use her fabulous graphics for my show thumb notes. And tonight is Time to Restore the Republic. And if you're, been following me for a long time, you know that I've been always very pro-Trump and very pro-Q. And so I believe that we are being vindicated quite seriously. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. And we need to see the major arrests and so forth, but just trust the plan. And I was very recently, I've got some critics of people that are, making Q out to be a LARP, which they've done for a long time. But meanwhile, what I've said all along is find yourself an Anon and cozy up, because it's the big picture. If you're just MAGA, and you're going to see some things like most pro MAGA that aren't Q are seeing him cozy up with Israel. And I have said, multiple times, if Israel uses the media and the banks, the Khazarian mafia, to control humanity, what has Trump done with the media? Totally discredited it. Fake news, fake news, fake news over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, there's almost not a single press conference that goes by where he doesn't call out somebody for being fake news. And that's for the world to see. So he's destroyed the media, Hollywood, the music industry, all these people that have turned and gone, way woke and gone broke, the Netflixes of the world, etc. He's destroyed that. And that is their number one tool to control humanity. Their number two control is the banks. He's pulling taxation out of no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, including mine, by the way, including the tips that you would give me. I don't have to show taxes on that. So if you want to support my work, you may do so in the following manners. And I appreciate you. I am still going solely on donations, very little amount of merch coming through. But you can also, if you want to get a new t-shirt, you want to get a new hat, a new mug, they're on, I'll put that, link up here in a little bit. But there's no tax on tips to podcasters, which is fantastic, up to, I think it's $25,000. So, and I don't get much beyond that. So it's great. I mean, you guys show your support, but I haven't made it by a long shot. When I'm in a position where I can, buy a car and buy a home, and that's a whole different level. But I'm not there yet, because to me this has been a passion for truth. And Q said, beware those who get rich off this movement. But the people that are critical about Q, the people that are critical about over Trump and cozying up to Israel, don't understand saving Israel for last, don't understand what Trump has done with Israel and how he's cut off communications with Netanyahu, how he's allowed Israel to expose themselves to the world through this genocide of Gaza, countless sacrifices of the Palestinians to expose this truly tyrannical, government. And it's also exposing the Christian pastors, the 501c3 pastors, who are absolutely, Judeo-Christian, like this pro-Israel thing, like because the Bible says so, we have to support Netanyahu, who is proven to be a war criminal. And we know they created Hamas, they funded Hamas. They funded Hamas towards the end through Qatar at like $30 million a month. They were very slow to respond on October 7th, almost like there was something going on that they allowed or they created so that it would give them a reason to go into Gaza. And then we see the explosion last week that we don't even know what happened. And I've heard that it was a landmine that 2 IDF soldiers ran over and blew up. And so what's Israel do? Not 1 missile response, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 20, not 30, not 50, not 80, not 90, 100 missiles in response to 2 IDF soldiers dying, which ended up killing 97 Palestinians. So we're seeing the people being exposed, all these influencers, all these people that we thought were, all about truth, all about Trump, all about Q, or not Q, but just, Trump and this resurgence of America that's happening. And now it's becoming easier and easier and easier to figure out who are, paid for their content and who are not. And you're talking with one who is not. So this is completely, the work I do is completely 100% supported by you. So I thank you for that. And I appreciate you joining us tonight. This is, I hope you had a nice weekend. And we have another week coming in, and this is a big week. And it's, Q let us know that, the capitulation tour of all these nations, we were told that Trump is working with Putin, Trump is working with Xi to take down the global cabal. And so it's interesting when we see that there are these moments of like, he can't get Russia to stop this war. Well, actually, it's Ukraine that can't get Russia to stop this war, because Ukraine is still talking about joining NATO, and that's what started the war. Putin's, said multiple times, you can't join NATO. That breaks our contract that was set back in 2014, that you are not going to join NATO. And so that's gone against. And then you've got the trade war tariffs with China, which is going to get very interesting. And I think it's going to get resolved. And I think that we're going to see, that this is all a part of this great awakening. And we're going to see some real collaboration here in the not too distant future. Now, we've talked about Marker 9. Marker 9 is very important for the first two arrests from the Q drops, the first two indictments. He's stopped 8 wars, and he signed one just yesterday with the in Asia, and that is that was one of the 8. And now, if he stops Russia, Ukraine, that would be number 9. Is that marker number 9? And, maybe so, maybe not. But in this whole slew of influencers coming out of nowhere and gaining huge numbers and then disappointing us in one way, shape, or form, the one thing that has always guided me, and I've said this from the get-go, you don't have to believe the Bible to get a lot of great wisdom from the Bible. Okay. Like, non-believers read the Bible. There's some great stuff in there, right? That will help you with your daily life, what have you. The same, not to equate them, but the same could be said for the Q drops. Like, if you don't believe in Q, there's some great wisdom in Q, and especially in the Socratic method of asking the questions. One of the things that has always guided me, no outside comms, right? Q told us no outside comms. So every influencer that came along that was telling me something that, they shouldn't know, or making a prediction that they have no idea about, that isn't Q related, I just dismiss, because that's an outside comm. And those are also people with low self-esteem that have to pretend that they have something they don't, or have to pretend to be something they aren't, in order to get your attention, to get your subscription, to get your donation. And I have never done that. I've never claimed I had intel on this channel. I've always used my intel being things that have happened with, things that Trump has said and done, and, going into the Q drops. And to me, that has served me quite well from straying off the path of Q, because that's such a big a big thing for us to really grasp, that this is why we have never, I have never fallen for these fake influencers. And so I called out people years before other people have, because they were offering, outside comms, and they're not true Q if they're doing that. So, and this is a very special time in the, Q movement, if you will, because there have been no posts for 5 days on Q. But today, the Delta for not today, but for tomorrow, October 28th, these were the first 3 Q drops. Okay. And I'm going to take you there. And number one, October 28th, 2017, 4:48 for 28 seconds, was a repost of October 28th, 2017, 3:33:50. Hillary Clinton will be arrested between 7:45 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, the morning of October 30th, 2017. Now, that was post 0. This is post 1. HRC extradition already in motion, effective yesterday, with several countries in case of cross-border run. Passport approved to be flagged effective 10:30. At 12:01 a.m., expect massive riots organized in defiance and others fleeing the U.S. to occur. U.S. Marines will conduct the operation while National Guard activated. Proof check, located National Guard member and asked if activated for duty, 10:30 across most major cities. Okay. Now, that was post 0 and post 1. Now, did the arrest of Hillary Clinton take place? Well, many of us think yes. Many of us think no. But I will tell you, based on what I've shown you, is that there's no way she's in charge of her Twitter account, because the timestamps that she is well aware of, and anybody that works with her is well aware of the Q drops and her connection with those, and the fact that we use timestamps to go back in to certain Q posts. And she has literally sent us back into very, very damning evidence about her. Then Q drop 2, which is the third one, Mockingbird. Okay, so Q is talking about the media, the fake news media. So on post 2, Q has already taken out the CIA and Israel because of the control over the media that both have. And all you have to do is go back to 1975 Church Commission to know that William Colby said under oath that there were 400 CIA assets within mainstream media. And that was back when we had, 3 television stations, right? Handful of major newspapers, handful of major magazines. So right away, off the bat, Q goes towards Israel and goes towards CIA. HRC detained, not arrested yet. So what if she was detained and they told her this is what it's going to look like? We can either take you out now, you can go to Gitmo, you can be hung, you can whatever, or and we could get into like doubles and all that kind of stuff, but I want to focus on the things that we know. And the things that we know are that she is not in charge of her Twitter account, and oftentimes takes us into very damning communications about Clinton Foundation, Uranium One, the emails, Loretta Lynch, Bill Clinton tarmac meeting, Comey, the FISA, the communication between her and Barack Obama on this illegal server that she had. So there's treason across this, the Haiti, human trafficking. There is treason throughout the actions of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. And you and I already know that. Q is telling us this back in 2017. Where is Huma? Follow Huma, Huma Abedin. That's also connecting us to the Muslim Brotherhood. So what you're seeing right now with a lot of these pro-Israel influencers is like, oh, you have a problem with Israel? Well, the real problem is the Muslims in the United States. It's like, well, I, for one, I don't know about you, can focus on two problems at the same time, okay? And both of those are major, major problems. And by the way, I would throw Christianity in there if we're talking about those who are using the pulpit to speak outside of the words of Jesus Christ and God to convince us that we should fight Israel's war, that we should protect Israel at all costs because the Bible says so. Well, the Bible's talking about the people, okay? Israel is a people. It's not a location. It's not a government, et cetera. So, literally in the second post, it covers, Israel, CIA, the corruption within our own government, okay, and the introduction to the Muslim Brotherhood into our own government, which was Huma Abedin. This has nothing to do with Russia yet, okay? Yet. Now, what's the yet there? Well, what I believe that Q is referring to is, and by the way, I can go back and I can speak about these posts with a much broader, a breadth of knowledge of things that have happened and all that, and the future Q drops and so forth. But what they're alluding to is that the influence of the Muslim Brotherhood to sell uranium-1 to Russia, which ended up in Iran with the Muslim Brotherhood, also ended up in North Korea, because they were going to start World War III and, put us all into these FEMA camps. Why does POTUS surround himself with generals? What is military intelligence? Why go around the three-letter agencies? So right away, let me finish. What Supreme Court case allows for the use of military versus congressional assembled and approved agency? Who has ultimate authority over our branches of military without approval conditions unless 90+ in wartime conditions? What is the military code? Okay, now, this is very important because this is also bringing in the military conversation. We just saw on the post over here, post 1, about the National Guard. And here we're hearing about the military again. What are we seeing with what he's done with Washington, D.C., what he's done with Memphis, what he's talking about doing he was talking about doing it with San Francisco. And a couple, guys got on the phone with him and said, hey, we're doing a really good job here, other than Gavin Newsom. We'd like to try to turn this around ourselves. And he respected that. So if people are making these moves to keep him from coming in, he's okay with that, because he just wants the killing in the inner cities and the illegal migrants, taking over these cities. He wants it all to stop. Okay. And he's tired of these AGs and DAs that were funded by Soros, just, letting people out of jail, no bail. Not holding them, keeping them off the streets, and they're causing havoc, and especially the migrants. So within the first 3 drops, military, okay? That's what this is. And the reason why the transparency, accountability, and justice was brought up 20 times versus the military once, reposted for the second time and said in a different method the third time, is because what you and I are doing, sharing information, talking about things, and all this is so very important to bring awareness to everybody so that when the military does go into the cities, we know it's for us and not to, to control us, to cheers, everybody, by the way. Welcome to the Sned Shed. Welcome back to many of you. It's not to constrain us or to enslave us. And as a matter of fact, the gangs, the drugs, the homelessness, the crime, the violent crime, having to leave our doors open so our windows don't get busted in these cities and everything taken, all of these things, we are enslaved by the surroundings that we currently live in because there is chaos and there is lawlessness. So when you see the military come in, it's very important for us all to see it as a benefit to us. Okay. Now, so I'm not worried about the military at all because of Q, whereas many people see the military as a very negative thing. Many people see martial law as a very bad thing, not in the hands of Q and Q plus. Where is AW being held? Why? That's Andrew Weiner, right? Well, what did we just see about Andrew Weiner? Let me see if I can find it here quickly. Excuse me. Let's see. But Andrew Weiner just came back in the news very recently. His laptop came back in the news. That's very significant, especially given this Delta tomorrow. So we're going to find out more about the Andrew Weiner laptop. And Q has told us that the Andrew Weiner laptop will, make everything else look like, nothing, because it is so very damning. And remember, he had a file called life insurance, and the file had Hillary Clinton's frazzle drip email in it. Okay. And so this is very important, especially with these deltas coming up and all this, coming to a head is very, very significant. And I can't say that enough. I mean, it's very, we've been waiting a long time for this, but remember, Q also told us the past 2 years and the next 6 years, and he said that in 2019, right? So this is very important that we're keeping an eye on this. So POTUS will not go on TV to address the nation. POTUS must isolate himself to prevent negative optics. POTUS knew removing criminal rogue elements as a first step was essential to free and pass legislation. Who has access to everything classified? He does. Do you believe HRC, Soros, Obama, etc. have more power than Trump? Fantasy. This was back in 2017. And again, HRC is mentioned for the third time. Soros is mentioned for the first time. And Obama are mentioned for the first time. Okay. And now what's important also, because Q mentioned Anthony Weiner. I'm sorry, Anthony Weiner. Thank you, Moonbeam. I'm thinking getting him mixed up with the other piece of shit out of New York, Andrew Cuomo, who killed grandma and grandpa. So Obama, what's key here is the, follow Huma leads us to the Muslim Brotherhood. Well, Obama leads us to the Muslim Brotherhood through Valerie Jarrett, who is the snake poem that Trump would keep reciting because her father-in-law's partner was Oscar Brown Jr., who wrote the song "The Snake." And I've never seen anybody cover that but me. So they're already telling us that they don't have more power than Trump. Whoever controls the office of the presidency, okay, they missed an N here, controls this great land. They never believed for a moment they, Democrats and Republicans, would lose control. This is not an R versus D battle. Why did Soros donate all his money recently? Why would he place all his funds in a charity? Mockingbird, 103017, again going back to Hillary, Mockingbird, God bless fellow patriots. Now, it was the next morning, I believe, when I got a call from my friend Conan, and he said, hey, man, you got to go on 4chan and you got to see what this anonymous is posting. At the time, it wasn't Q. It wasn't Q until drop 61. And as a matter of fact, there were DJT signed it before Q ever did. So Q plus signed it before Q ever did. Okay. And then you have so those are the two posts that are going to be deltas for tomorrow, and then it gets to another level because the next night, October 29th, that's when Q really went off with 9 more posts, and it's military intelligence, Clinton Foundation, Comey, Democrats. POTUS is 100% insulated. Why wasn't HRC prosecuted for the emails? Because Obama was tied to them. Huma, husband in jail, which is Anthony Weiner. HRC, Muslim Brotherhood or child. This is when Q told us that basically, where's Huma today? That Huma turned on Clinton because what would she do? Kiss her child goodbye and leave without a mother or father for Clinton? Because Weiner was in jail, and he was in jail for being a pedophile too, for sexting underage girls. So again, military intelligence, state secrets, no FBI. POTUS installed his people within each top spot. Admiral Rogers kickstarted this because Admiral Rogers was the one that told Trump that Obama was spying on him. So this is really, really timely, folks, all this that's happening, right? Follow the money. Pelosi is mentioned, John McCain, Soros and his son, who is now engaged, excuse me, to Huma Abedin. So the truth is mind-blowing and cannot be fully exposed, okay? Why is Supreme Court decision for sitting president to activate the military? POTUS surrounded by generals. Many in our government worship Satan, not about Republicans versus Democrats at this stage. Where's HRC? Why is the National Guard? This is the third drop, fourth actually. Why is the National Guard called up across 12 cities? Trust in your president. God bless patriots. Now, my friends, this was back in 2017. President Trump was talking about, or I'm sorry, the Q operation was talking about National Guard across 12 cities. Even in, the riots of 2020 and so forth, the National Guard was never called up across 12 cities. So that is still yet to come. And we're, awaiting that. But do you understand how we're being peppered by all this stuff so that we can better accept it once it finally happens? I think that, excuse me, I think that is what is happening. So very, very important for us to understand that this was all foretold a long time ago. And whether you want to say, there's basically 2 ways to predict the future. One, you have technology. You have the, Tesla, John Trump, time machine. You have Looking Glass. You have Yellow Cube, or you have you make the future. Okay, and with patriots in control and all of that, it's very easy to see that many of the things that I believe we're watching are a white hat script to awaken the masses so that when this all goes down, we don't have 99% of us in a hospital, because we're not going to be able to move forward. as a nation, as a world, if the information that's coming out are just blowing people's minds, like, oh my God, how could I, that they're, underneath their desk, sucking their thumb, or in a hospital. So it's very important that we understand that this was foretold to us. And for me, October 29th is when I went on 4chan to check this out, and I saw these posts, and I was like, damn, this person knows what's going on, because I already knew a lot of this stuff. I knew about the Clintons. I knew about Obama. I knew about, Huma. I knew about all this stuff. So for Q to come on and say, okay, action is going to be taken, that woke everybody up. And everybody was like, okay, what's going on over here? So all the autists and all the anons on 4chan started paying attention and started doing research into what was really going on. And very early on, Q was leading us down pathways that we hadn't gone down before. One example was Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. We didn't know who they were, but we now knew through Q that, and I'm not sure when that first one, let me see, PS is normally Peter Strzok, but it might have been early on. Let me see, 2020. Oh, there's all kinds of PSs coming up. Let me see if I can put in Stroke. But that was something that we didn't know. I think it's spelled that. Let me find Lisa Page and see how far back she goes. So back in 2018, there was the post on April 24th. Let me take you to that. And it was Sarah Carter, who Sarah Carter and John Solomon were big for Q to, lead us in their direction, because they were doing real research. They were real journalists, not the Mockingbird. Also, took us to follow the pen, Catherine Herridge with CBS, who eventually lost her job with CBS because of Mockingbird and because she wasn't a Mockingbird. So this is a repost of Sarah Carter breaking DOJ will make the 6 months of missing texts that were eventually located by IG between Strzok and Page. That's why I couldn't find him. I misspelled his name. Available to Congress sometime tonight or tomorrow, according to sources developing. So this was Strzok and Page were basically, we were led to them. God, I can never spell his damn name. What is it? Strzok? Peter Strzok. Let me see if I can find that again. STRZOK. STRZOK. All right. Let me find that. STRZ. Okay. And so we'd have to go back to December 4th, 2017, like a long time, like, 6 months before this. Have you been watching the news since Friday? Who is Peter Strzok? How was he compromised? How was he paid? Who is Melissa Hodgman? Company, title, date of promotion, focus on the date. What events regarding Peter recently occurred that you now know? Think HRC emails, Wiener laptop again, etc. Dates, date of promotion of wife. How do they stack the deck? Why do they want inside the government? What are the puppets? How do you control a puppet? Number 2 in the FBI. Wife connection. What is a pattern? Follow the wives. Keep watching the news this week. Future proves past. Reread crumbs. Small. How many Dems, Republicans will not seek re-election? Why? What just passed in the Senate? Why? Who's their new handler? Do as told. Why is this relevant? Do you not understand the government is being gutted publicly? Bottom, middle, top, Hussein, Iran connection, bombs away. Merry Christmas. So we were being directed. Who's Peter Strzok? We had to go looking. And then we found out Melissa Hodgman is his wife, and she got a promotion. He was having an affair with Lisa Page, and we found out about their texts between one another. So these were things where we weren't getting this information from anywhere else, my friends. We were getting this information from Q. Okay, and that was it. Or at the time, anonymous. Like we didn't even know about Q, all right, until much later. So this is what we're seeing. We've got 98 watching, almost 100 over on YouTube. So welcome, YouTubers. Good to see you back, and good to be with you. I was just granted this channel back. I believe it was Friday, back onto YouTube, and I was granted another one that I'll be sharing with you also. For those of you who lost me on YouTube years ago, I've been going nonstop. I've been going with Rumble and X. I post on there at least 4 nights a week. And so you've been missing out, my friends. We've been missing each other, and they successfully separated us, which is why, by the way, again, this is why I created Snedheads. Snedheads.com, SNEDHEADS. It's our own social media site. You've got chess down here that pops up, where you can play chess against the computer. You've got other games down here that you can play. So it's got a little bit of everything. It's got research. It's got weather anomalies. A lot of people have been paying attention to the weather anomalies that are happening. A lot of you are looking at this. This takes a few seconds to load, but you'll see it here briefly. And so you're seeing snow in Wyoming, control the weather, control the world. Hurricane Melissa has reached category 5 and made impact with Japan.
Absolutely nothing to see here once again, guys. Just the island of Jamaica is facing one of the most powerful hurricanes ever.
On X. Let me show you this.
Of Jamaica is facing one of the most powerful hurricanes ever in recorded history. This is Hurricane Melissa, a category 5 storm spinning in the Western Caribbean just south of Cuba. Winds have been clocked at more than 160 miles per hour, and some coastal areas could see up to 40 inches of rain. To put that into perspective, that is over a month's rainfall in less than 24 hours. Now, of course, scientists are going to tell you that this is natural, just warmer oceans, aren't they, but if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll see that the same governments that talk about climate emergencies also fund things like geoengineering research, cloud seeding programs, and ionospheric experiments, Officially, it's for studying weather patterns, but who really knows how far this influence actually goes? I mean, come on, let's face it. Critical thinking isn't denial. It's curiosity. We can literally acknowledge that the Caribbean's waters are the hottest on record, and we can still also ask why global powers keep expanding weather modification patents, We can question why billion-dollar contracts exist for spraying aerosols while everyday people are told to recycle plastic straws to save the planet. Honestly, whether you believe in weather modification or manipulation or just mismanagement, one thing is clear, extreme weather is being used as a tool politically, economically, emotionally. Every storm becomes a headline, and every headline becomes leverage. So yeah, whilst Jamaica is facing the fury of Melissa right now, maybe the rest of us should face a harder truth. The sky might not be as natural as we have been led to believe. Stay awake, beautiful people, stay questioning, and never stop.
There you go. So that's an example of something that you could see very easily on Snedheads, and you don't even have to go into X. You could just watch it right on Snedheads. And so there's a lot of great stuff there. So I recommend it, and that way we don't lose each other again, because after getting deplatformed off 28 big tech social media platforms, I had to create my own. 650 of you beautiful people are on there. Think of it as a small town. Everybody knows each other. Everybody's accountable. We share our face. We share our name. And I asked for your phone number. But you have to understand that when you're signing on with me, you're giving me your phone number. You're not giving anybody else. I don't sell any of this information. It's kept private. It's kept on a server. And it's not like you're going to be marketed. You're not going to be telemarketed or anything like that. So when we go in and sign up to things, we're always trepidatious. Sometimes we use an email that we rarely use, so we don't get continually spammed. I don't think anybody, no, it hasn't happened. Nobody that's given me their phone number or email in the past, I think 3 months we've been doing this. Nobody's gotten a phone call, text, or email from me through that use of your content. So you read the terms and conditions, you'll see that your information is protected. So we're doing things differently. So we're creating a small town, Snedheads, and the show is on there as well, where you know each other. You're accountable. No one's gonna, here's the thing. The reason why it's $17 to support is because that's much less than what they're making off your free account on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and all that. Because I've already done the research on this. They sell your information. They'll make, I think, sometimes $35 to $45 a month minimum on your personal information, your personal habits that they know that you have because they track you. So this is the new internet. This is the new way of doing things, where you're not going to be AI tracked and hit with all this nonsense. So I welcome you to join that. It's free to join. You can read. You see everything. You can go around. You can see some old shows. You can see some specific shorter shows, shorter blurbs. We're adding content all the time. And you're gonna enjoy it. Actually, we haven't been adding a lot of content because Ronnie, who helped me do this, he's been going through a time. So prayers up for Ronnie Orr, please. So we've got a backlog of some stuff to do, but just know that you're coming into a small town. Accountability. Use your own picture. Use your own name. And it's a private social network. So I highly recommend you join us over there, and I welcome you to join us on snedheads.com. And also you're gonna keep up to speed on breaking news, because we have the breaking news feed right across the top of the page, and you're going to be able to see quite a bit of news come across your desk, if you will. And the reason I did that is because I want you to, be able to be on social media and say, "Oh, breaking! Let me check that out." And you click on it, and it'll take you to that article. So please check this out. Some great stuff there, folks. That I want you to be aware of. Let me start off by sharing this. By Moonbeam here.
A little bit about the study that just came out of Sweden that is just so alarming.
The news is buzzing out of Lund University, Malmö, Sweden. Marcus Alden is the first author. The first demonstration in a human hepatic or liver cell line that the Pfizer vaccine, in fact, reverse transcribes and installs DNA into the human genome.
Wow. And so in simple terms, what does that mean, Dr. Bartlett?
Thank you for making it simple. So basically, there's an enzyme that can take that messenger RNA vaccine information and put it into the DNA of the person, into their DNA. And we were told that could not happen. So this is in a lab, but it's showing that you remember the vaccine is messenger RNA.
Yeah.
And we were told that that messenger RNA could not go into your DNA, but this is showing that in a lab it can.
And so what happens when it does, Dr. Cole?
Well, can I answer slightly different than your question?
Yeah.
So one of the fun things about the last couple of years being a doctor and lawyer is this is a very interesting opportunity, and I think we're going to be bringing another lawsuit because there's actually federal law that you cannot discriminate against people for genetic discriminations. I forgot the acronym. I think it's GINA, G-I-N-A. GINA, right? So this now opens the door to saying that if you're not allowing somebody in who chose not to get the shot, that you're actually engaging in genetic discrimination. So I think there's this Sweden study, I think, opens the door to a new type of lawsuit.
If you're pregnant and you have this done, can that then affect your baby?
Yes, this is the alarming finding. The CDC says on its website very explicitly, this will not change your DNA. The paper that came out of Sweden, now there'll be many more to confirm it.
So, thank you, Diana. That is on Snedheads. And by the way, folks, how many of you heard about this from me? How many of you heard about the pandemic and a forced vaccination for adults because they had already taken care of the children in California, and I knew that was the model for the rest of the country? How many of you knew about that as early as 8 months before COVID ever hit? With this video right here, Tyranny in the Storm, which is under Circa Sned videos. Tyranny in the Storm, 18 minutes, where I was pissed because I knew I was going to have to leave California because they had voted to take away medical, the use of a doctor's note to stay away from childhood vaccinations. And I told you they passed it in California, and I knew that was coming to the rest of the country, but they only got the children, and that they were going to come for the adults next. And they were going to create a similar pandemic as I described in this video, like down at Disneyland, where they 14 children got the measles, and they used that to force vaccinate the rest of the state and get people away from these, they called them, these fake doctor notes of, like what I had. Because they had already taken away our religious exemption from childhood vaccinations. And by the way, I don't even know if this is going to get me booted off YouTube because of, I'm still talking about this, but that's what most of my terminations was warning you all. How many of you were introduced to Dr. Simone Gold through me sharing with you the frontline doctors in front of the Supreme Court talking about hydroxychloroquine? How many of you met Dr. Zelenko through me? Because I shared him right after President Trump shared his video on how he cured 600 COVID patients with HCQ. So Donna, that was you, okay? And many of you have told me that I, saved you and your family from this jab because I was way out ahead of this. Thank you, Moonbeam. And and this was a big thing. And this was, folks, this was back in May. This video was May 22nd, 2019, 8 months before the first COVID case. Okay, it was 18 minutes long. You can go listen to it on Snedheads, and you'll see I was way out ahead of this. So by the time the pandemic, by the way, the time Event 201 came, I was saying this is what they're doing. They always do a what do you call it, not a the word I'm trying to think of is the like 9/11. They had an event. The Boston bombing, they had an event. What do you call it? Newtown, they had an event. And thank you, Terry. Thank you, Arnie. Appreciate that. And so yeah, 6 fake downvotes automatically on this channel if I downvote. 6 fake upvotes automatically. Actually, Chuckles, it repopulates. So people, it's not fake, because trust me, if it was fake, I'd have more than, I've got, I get about 8,000 to 10,000 views on my channels. And I only have, I might only have 200 thumbs up. Okay. False flag. Yeah, the actual event was a false flag, but it was an exercise, if you will, a practice exercise that they would have. Right. Thank you, C. Cutler. Yes, Dave, I learned about frontline doctors from more and a lot more from you. Thank you. So I'm not patting myself on the back, folks. I'm just saying that look at all these influencers that have come along that were, Joe Rogan, he was saying that the vaccine science is solid. He didn't think healthy children should get it, but he was saying for the elderly, et cetera. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of like a test run. Exactly, Deborah. Yeah. So, so I'm just saying this is because how many, who were you listening to then and who are you listening to now? Because now a lot of people are going to influencers that they like, or they have flashy, or they have shorter segments that they want to follow, and they're grabbing you in. But where the hell were they during COVID, before COVID, during, after, during the 2020 riots, during J6? I was there at J6. I was there at the 2020 riots. I took you there. So yes. So that's why I bring it up, is because it's, it's frustrating to see all this and to understand that that so many of these people are being propped up, or they're not getting 28 terminations off platforms. Okay, so by the way, this is the Shopify. If you want to grab some merch and support my work here, snedshop.myshopify.com. We still have the map up. I put that back up so that we can see where you are at in the world, and I'll do that another day. Yeah, that's one way you can support, and this is another way you can support. So I welcome you to do that, and thank you for your support that has kept this going. So let me get into President Trump's stuff on Truth Social. Let me take you to his most recent. And again, you can access this through Snedheads. It's real easy because you can just go. You don't have to type in, truth and then find Trump's post. You're already on Snedheads. You can just click on click on the X and Truth feeds. This pops up. You scroll down to the President Trump on Truth, and boom, you're there. Okay. And he said his latest post was 18 hours ago. Now he's obviously very busy over in Asia, but hopefully we'll have some more posts by him during the show. And he says, after winning 3 elections by a lot, I am now getting the best polling numbers that I have ever received. People see how strong the economy is, the trillions of dollars of investment pouring into our country, the record-setting strong border after years of millions of criminals pouring through it totally unvetted and unchecked, ending 8 wars in 8 months, no men playing in women's sports, no transgender for everyone, rapidly falling energy prices, and much more. Despite all of this, the radical left losers are taking fake ads, not showing. And by the way, the fake ads, Canada used a fake ad. They edited Ronald Reagan's speech to make him look like he was against tariffs, which, by the way, Rand Paul and Thomas Massey are against tariffs. Meanwhile, where were they when every country in the world was on an unlevel playing field because they were taking advantage of the United States of America and all its suppliers and exporters by charging them tariffs to get their product into their country. But meanwhile, they weren't being charged to bring their products into our country. And thus we lost our entire manufacturing base. That decimated. I lived in those areas. I lived in Rhode Island. I lived in Pittsburgh. I lived in Ohio. I saw the Rust Belt. I saw the steel mills close down. Despite all of this, the radical left losers are taking fake ads, not showing real polls, but rather saying that I'm polling at low levels. These are the people that I've been beating for years and am continuing to do so, but by even bigger margins. These ads should not be allowed to run because they are fake. They're fake. So why are they allowed to run? Mockingbird, the fake news. Okay. Now, when you see this, you see all caps and fake, all caps and real. Polls should not be, if this was a 7th grade paper that little Donnie was turning into his teacher, there'd be a lot of marks. 3 shouldn't be capitalized. By a lot shouldn't be capitalized. Polling is not a proper noun. So it should not be capitalized, et cetera, et cetera. So what do? We take all that, we copy it, we go into Snedheads, and we go to research the Q drops, and we go to capital letter counter. And we're right there. We put in the capital letters, and we find out it's 47. So then we go to the Q drops, and we pull up 47 on the Q drops. I'm still on. There we go, 47. And also think mirror. And we go to 4774. 47 is you can paint the picture based solely on the questions asked. This is all about the Socratic method that Q used to get people to re-engage their minds with the information that was coming out. Be vigilant today and expect a major false flag. Does anyone find it to be a coincidence that there's always a terrorist attack when bad news breaks for the Democrats? What is that called? Military relevant? How? Because Trump is going to be able to call them up. Barack Obama could not and would not allow the military to destroy ISIS. Why? Because Barack Obama, with the CIA, created ISIS along with Israeli intelligence. How was ISIS formed? When? How has POTUS made such progress in the short time he's been president? Alice in Wonderland. This is so key because, again, Socratically, how was ISIS formed? It got us to do our own research, okay? Think mirror. Q equals Alice. Well, Q is telling us here Alice is Q, okay? We also know you'll soon understand the meaning behind Alice and Wonderland. Everything has meaning, God bless. So Q equals Alice, but Alice also equals HRC. And my take on this is that HRC in Saudi Arabia, those were her purse strings. They donated $150 million to the Clinton Foundation. That's why Barack Obama had to take all that money out at the end of his presidency to save her ass by giving them a bunch of money. Everything has meaning. God bless. Everything has meaning. So all these things that are being said have meaning. All right. So President Trump is taking us to this, and he also took us 3:03 a.m. So we'll go East Coast time is 4:03. Okay. So we'll go to 403. But the thing about it is we always drop the the 0, and also think mirror. So we'll start at 403, and we'll go. Let's see. It takes us to 8chan. Okay, that's when Q is making the jump from 4chan to 8chan because 4chan was compromised. Okay, so we go back here. Let's go back to. Let me get rid of the first one. Okay, just so it's cleaner. And we're taken to 43. These crumbs are not meant to scare anyone, but merely inform. Resistance will be dealt with swiftly. Why? Because the National Guard will be up in these cities. The core focus is removing entrenched and fortified bad actors within our federal government, past and present, as well as others. We're seeing that unfold. We've seen the indictment of James Comey. We've seen I'm sorry, not the indictment yet, but the referral for prosecution of James Comey and John Brennan, okay, who's also a tie into the Muslim Brotherhood. Simply be diligent. Phone numbers will be provided if you witness an uprising or other domestic violence, in addition to 911. Any military scene is for your protection, as well as to demonstrate our resolve. Watch for confirmations tomorrow. So with that timestamp, President Trump took us to this drop. I think that's pretty significant. Think mirror. We go to 34 and we have Q, Clarence Patriot. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we're taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. On POTUS's order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur 11/3 upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable 11/4. Now, we've always thought those were dates. Then we showed you that it was the Law of War Manual, which was foreign occupation. Okay, and we know that we've had a foreign infiltration into our country. Okay. Confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not be openly accepted. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials. Well, we already know that these riots, these demonstrations are funded by George Soros and funded by a lot of our own money, the USAID, that was disclosed by Doge. Let's see. On POTUS's order, a state of temporary military control, excuse me, will be actioned and special operations carried out. False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the United States to prevent extradition and special operator necessity. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country is being exhausted in full. They would not be able to guarantee that unless they have the military in these cities. That's why not only has President Trump floated the Insurrection Act multiple times, but also we have seen the governors and the mayors' attempts to keep Trump out with the military. Okay. However, the atmosphere within the country will unfortunately be divided, as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has long been broadcast. Mockingbird. We will be initiating the emergency broadcast system during this time in an effort to provide a direct message, avoiding the fake news to all citizens. Organizations and or people that wish to do us harm during this time will be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. Boom. He took us to that. He's been taking us to this. He's been letting us know this is what's going on. Okay. Military is the only way, my friends, without question. And we're seeing this play out. Okay. And we're seeing this. We were talking about this a long time ago. This 34 post was back in November 2017. Okay. And we thought that was going to happen 11/3 and 11/4. So coming up, in a couple of days, Podesta is going to be arrested, or an arrest announcement, et cetera, et cetera. Never happened for years and years and years. But Q also took us to the, saying that it's going to be the next 6 years. Wait do you see what happens, right? So I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had that up for so long. Okay. But it is necessary to continue what I'm doing here. And so it is important. So I do appreciate all of you who are showing your support and all are engaging. We must break the addiction to free, because that is how they've enslaved us. That's how they've tracked us with Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. All right, this is how they're tracking us. And that's why I'm giving you the other option of Snedheads with access to those other platforms through posts, through shares, etc. Big things, by the way, going forward with snedheads.com that are going to be great tools for you all. So I'm looking forward to sharing more on that. All right, let's see where we're at here. We're at about an hour and 50. I am going to try to keep this to 2 hours because, again, this is Monday. I think we have a big week ahead of us. But let me take you to President Trump's post again to see what he's saying, what he's up to, and what he's pointing us to as well. Okay. Landing in Japan now, looking forward to seeing the Emperor, President DJT. Of course, that was 19 hours ago. This was his trip to Malaysia. And most people are petrified by the radical left, but I'm not. They keep getting me and other Republicans elected. So it's almost like, I mean, do you listen to these Democrats and you think, oh my God, like SNAP benefits are up by the end of this week, by the way. So if the government is still closed, people aren't going to get those SNAP benefits. That's going to be a major, major problem. Okay. But it's also exposing the Democrats because the Republicans have put forth legislation that wouldn't change anything, and it would just keep the government funded. And they're not going for it. Are they listening to the white hats, or are they listening to the black hats? Because they're being exposed for this. Because we need 60 senators to vote on the continuing funding of our government. That means we need only about 8 or 9 Democrats. So he also posted this picture of him in the Oval Office, which I think is fantastic. Look how beautiful the Oval Office is now. Many of these great paintings of past presidents were in the vaults for over 100 years. They weren't even out in the open. Now they are for everyone to enjoy. They are here for everyone to enjoy. I think he missed that. The West Wing, that's a big topic right now. Like what's going on in the West Wing, and he even mentioned the military is being consulted so that we do this right. Meanwhile, it's like, why would you consult the military on a building project unless there was something underneath that East Wing of the White House that has been demolished? I think we're going to find tunnels down there. I think we're going to find some things that, again, the type of thing that would put 99% of us in the hospital. Here he posts in the Oval Office, getting ready to leave our imprint on the world, make America great again. Let's see the timestamp on that. Let's see if he's taken us. That's 3:21 a.m. The other thing, let me see. No, that was AM. So we'll go to 321. I think that was what it was. Was it 321? Let me double check that. Yeah, 321. Okay. So let me take you there. POTUS 134 U.S. military, POTUS 137 U.S. military. 134 was Q Clarence Patriot was 34, right? So 137 U.S. military. All right, post 134. I'm sorry, not POTUS. So, what's he saying here, right? 666. That's the powerful numbers, but have been used by the cabal to control humanity through their symbology. But 134. Let's take the 134 and 137 here and see what's here. 134. Why were the events in Saudi Arabia extraordinary? Who was arrested? What will bank records provide? List names, family history, investment, ownership stakes, and point-to-point contacts. Al-Walid, Huma, Harvard University, Muslim alumni. Barack Obama, he funded Barack Obama through Harvard. Citigroup, U.S. control. Why is this relevant? House of Saud, U.S. control. Follow the money. It will show all the puppet strings over all these legislators that Saudi Arabia was in control of through the money. Follow the money. What power shift recently occurred? Was a new king appointed? Coincidence, dark to light. Why is this relevant? One side of the triangle removed, first time in history. That was the House of Saud. And it was removed right before the Q drops started, right after Trump saved bin Salman. Okay, Prince bin Salman, he saved him from assassination. That was the Las Vegas event, the largest mass shooting in U.S. history, was for one purpose, and that was to take out Mohammed bin Salman. Trump saved him. He sent the military and National Guard into Saudi Arabia, allowed bin Salman to make all these arrests, put all these people up in, I think it was over 280 people, up in the Ritz-Carlton, Riyadh, and they hung Prince Al-Walid by his ankles, and they started to take over control of Twitter long before Elon Musk came along. Other sides falling. Plus is Saudi Arabia. Plus is Rothschilds. Plus is Soros. Okay, so that's 134. So that's the U.S. military. Okay. And Q has also told us the same thing is going to happen here as what happened in Saudi Arabia. 137 goes to the Central Bank of Iraq. That could allude to the currency revaluation that we've been waiting on for now 2 decades. Okay, but it basically the central bank. These are all the central banks around the world, Bank of Japan, etc., that are controlled by who? Rothschilds. That's one side of the triangle. Okay. And President Trump is taking us to that with this post right here. Okay. So, and, again, mentioning the U.S. military, right? So we're still getting a lot of comms, okay, that are, and also, the thing that I wanted to mention about our friend Patriot Street Fighter Spiritual Street Fighter that was so relevant is Time to Restore Our Republic. President Trump has retruthed her 41 times, and she's a listener of this program, and she donates her work for my thumbnails for the show. But the key here is that she is totally Q, and most of the posts that President Trump has reposted on Truth have Q plus, Q. They're all Q related. So that's further confirmation that President Trump is speaking to us and telling us that, Q is the real deal and the military is necessary, and we're going to see much, much more to come regarding this whole scenario. Okay. Okay. By the way, this is more of the false flags to take away our right to vaccinate our children whenever we want. Measles was declared eliminated in the U.S. in 2000. RFK Jr. must resign. And then measles spreading beyond the center of the Utah-Arizona outbreak. Well, RFK Jr. must resign. Why? Because they're taking the heavy metals out of these jabs and trying to tell us that they're not necessary. Meanwhile, nobody dies from measles. Okay, so what's the big deal? You get measles for a week, you get chickenpox for a week, and then you're done, and you've just strengthened your immune system. This is what I was showing you. Sorry about that. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, Gusto, please get everyone in Rumble, give a thumbs up every single time. I appreciate that. It's the least I could ask, folks. Come on. This is, come on. Like, is it that difficult just to give a thumbs up to help boost this show? Diane Park says that there's a huge amount of fraud in the food stamp program. I hope they revamp the whole thing and stop all the damn fraud of those people. I realize people need help from time to time, but to live your life on the taxpayer's dime, it's got to stop. Not just that, Diane, but generations of it, like multiple generations of this happening, right? Which has got to stop. And I think this is why we're seeing the things we are, right? Is because it's all about this kind of taking this all down. I gotta show this to you, because this is again why the military is so important, because what we're seeing are these judges that are stepping in out of their jurisdiction, not jurisdiction, but out of their purview. Listen to this here.
The most important thing that I heard from Fallon Gallagher, based on her being inside the courtroom, is that this judge, Jamal Walker, has decided that he is going to grant a request by James's attorneys to have her motion, essentially to disqualify Lindsay Halligan on the grounds that she was not lawfully appointed, consolidated with that of Jim Comey, who also brought a similar motion. And what is particularly striking is that the judges in each of their cases are not going to hear those motions. They're going to be referred to a federal appeals court, and specifically to the chief judge of the Fourth Circuit of the U.S. Court of Appeals, for assignment to someone outside the Eastern District of Virginia. And that's because the Eastern District of Virginia judges not only see people from the U.S. Attorney's Office day in and day out in the criminal and civil dockets that they handle, but also because the statutes at play have a role for the district judges to play. When there is a vacancy and someone fills it for 120 days, and that 120 days is up and there is no nominee that's been confirmed, the statutes then allow the district judges of any particular district to appoint you.
Yeah. It's now they're trying to loop Comey in with Letitia James and say that this is all lawfare, and it's just it's unbelievable how we're seeing the corruptness of these judges, right? Yeah, we're getting to the bottom of it. If you're in New York, this is what Mandami said. Thank you, Silver Girl, for this post here that you sent.
Alhamdulillah, there are 1 million Muslims in this city. 200,000 of us are registered to vote as Democrats. In the last election, only 7% of us voted. Now, I will not blame anyone, because often it feels like there isn't much to vote for. But this June 24th, with early voting starting tomorrow, it is an opportunity for us to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City, we also belong in City Hall. Because yesterday I stood on the debate, and Andrew Cuomo stood next to me. And here was a man who was the governor for a decade, and he could not name a single mosque he had ever visited. He could not name it because he does not care. Alhamdulillah, there are 1 million Muslims in this city.
So Laura Loomer would go on to say, Mandami admits his goal for New York City is Muslim takeover of New York. And there's some legitimacy here. But Laura Loomer also will not allow anybody to challenge, Israel. So she, a lot of people, what we're seeing now is a lot of people are stepping up, and they're basically saying that Israel's not the problem, Islam is. And meanwhile, we got a problem with all of it. Let me share this with you, and then I'm going to wrap it up here very soon. Because, and by the way, folks, the way I do the donations, if you've donated tonight, you'll be on the wheel this week, and you'll see yourself go around this wheel, and we spin the wheel for a free year's membership to Snedheads and a free T-shirt. And we do that about once a week if we have enough donations. So you'll see your name, spinning around the wheel, and also call you out as supporters, my friends. So Vilma, it's always East Coast time on the drops. Always East Coast. Thank you for that question. Let's see. Yeah, 7,000 shekels for that post, right? I'd also point you to, it is in the Quran for them to do that, take over the world, without question. That we know to be true, without question. That's what we got to really be aware of that. But like President Trump said, a Mandami election is going to be great for Republicans. It's going to be great for Republicans. Couple things that I didn't get a chance to get to tonight that I want to bring to your attention, and that is Candace Owens came back this week. I guess she was on vacation last week. I've been critical of Candace Owens because she doesn't know Q, but Candace Owens, Ryan Matta, some people doing great, Ian Carroll. I've been critical, all three of them, of not understanding Q and not understanding we're saving Israel for last. And also they don't understand, look at what Trump has done with the media. Look what Trump has done with the banks, the central banking, especially the Fed, taking a lot of money out of the Fed. And so this is, but these people are the only ones, along with me, and several others too. But in terms of large influencers, those three are doing some really great work in challenging the Charlie Kirk narrative. And what I've said about the Charlie Kirk narrative, and I said this from day one, first of all, he may be alive. And I think that this benefits the white hats more than anybody. In the sense, not that he got shot and is still alive, but that, we're watching a show, because obviously the narrative doesn't make any sense, but the narrative is necessary to go after George Soros, one side of the triangle, because he funds all the trans activists, the Antifa, the BLM, and all that kind of stuff that is a problem within our country. So they must go in that direction. So yes, I know nothing makes sense about the narrative that they're spewing. It's bullshit, the whole bit of it. These people are calling Kash Patel and Dan Bongino liars because of this story, and President Trump a liar because of this story. Meanwhile, I think it's part of the show and that they're playing their role. And so it's necessary to go down that path so that they take out the funding of all those organizations. And then the other path that people are questioning is Israel. And they're the big proponents on that question, Israel, because of what Charlie Kirk was saying in his waning, the weeks before his death, was that he, was significantly going to step away from the Israel narrative of, they can do no wrong. And that was one of the problems I had with Charlie Kirk. And he called out October 7th right away on the Patrick Ben-David show. And he was also challenging this down the stretch. And that's why our X feed was so full of pro-Israel content, because Netanyahu met with all those influencers and said, we're going to pay you $7,000 per post. And they took over X there for a short period of time. And that was at the beginning of the show why I was saying to Elon, why am I not seeing the people I follow? Instead, I'm seeing all these pro-Israel, shills that are getting paid for their feeds, and they're paying X to get those feeds into my feed, because that's just not the way it should have been done. Yeah, Bannon, you're going to find out more about Bannon too. Dan Bongino just unfollowed Steve Bannon. So we're gonna find out anyway. But it is opinion, and my opinion is my opinion as well. We don't know. But one of the things I wanted to say is that those two paths are absolutely necessary. And I think Charlie Kirk could be the 11-3 because of the 47 hats, 3-11. Charlie Kirk, C is 3, K is 11. Think Mirror 11-3, the start. And I think that's the start of the fall of the other two sides of the triangle. And that's what I've been saying since day one of the Charlie Kirk event. So check out Ian Carroll, check out Candace Owens and what they're saying about the Charlie Kirk situation. The bottom line is, you don't have to take my word for it that he's alive. That's kind of like, out there. But take my word for it on this, is that we must be challenging the narrative. It doesn't matter what the narrative that came out, but we must challenge the narrative, especially when it has as many holes in it as the one that they're spewing, right? We absolutely have to question everything, right? So, yeah, and witness protection. Valhalla is code for witness protection as well. There's also the Valhalla, New Zealand, the Valhalla Manor, an hour away from Goat Island, which was the picture on the computer screen that Tyler Robinson was standing beside. And also, yeah, it seemed pretty staged. I gotta say that. Rumble is owned a lot by Peter Thiel. It's also, I'm a little cautious about Rumble, even though they've given me a platform. I think that Rumble is definitely, some shows are being given this whole, propped upness with accounts like mine that aren't even ever like, even though on X, by the way, a lot of times, and by the way, let me see where we're at on X. I think we're at right now. We get up sometimes. We're number 3, number 2, number 1 on X right now. We're down. Looks like we're at. Let's see, Alex Jones, Matt Baker, Aaron Day, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're number 8 right now on X. But there are many times when we're up number 2, number 1 on X when I go late. And so thank you for putting us up there on X. But it's hard to get up there. It's hard to get in front of a lot of people when you're spitting real truth, and that's what I'm doing here. I continue to do so. I thank you for joining me. Thank you all you YouTubers that came back on and joined us. Great to have you back, and great to have those sites back. I've already regained. Let's see, a little under 20,000 subs just with those 2 accounts. So I hope that that it continues. So let's see. I've always enjoyed Scotty Marr, and Scotty always does the Q drops, so I've never had a problem with Scotty Marr. And so I'm glad that he's back on YouTube as well. And remember, folks, a lot of these people, thank you, Barbara, I appreciate you. A lot of these people are that you've continued to watch on YouTube haven't been banned by YouTube. So you gotta ask yourself that question. You know, the Benny Johnsons and the you know, so many out there that still have YouTube channels and they haven't been terminated 28 times like yours truly, haven't been demonetized. I've had to jump through hoops just to get, you know, links that you can actually donate to, because the, you know, PayPal and Venmo were like, you're done. You can't even my ex she was, you know, nuked off PayPal because, you know, we shared an account. So so many of these that you have been watching have not been terminated off of YouTube, and I've been terminated between my shows and Hawk's shows. It's in the teens. So I don't know the exact count but overall I think it was 28 that I counted at one point. So please support those that are the ones being nuked off these platforms, because we're the ones that are having the toughest time here, just keeping the lights on. So thank you for joining me this evening, my friends. I'm trying to keep the shows to 2 hours. I'm on consistently at 8 Central Time. As you know, I'm in Texas now, west of Austin. And I am, sometimes I'll get, if we got a heavy day, I'll get into a third hour, but I'm trying to keep it to 2 hours, trying to keep it condensed. Give you like really key stuff within those 2 hours, or share with you something that you might want to look up after. But it's good to have you all here. It's just me and Jasper, who's passed out on the floor here because he's had a full day and a full weekend. Took him with me everywhere we went this weekend, which was pretty awesome. He loves the car. I always find a shady spot for him, or leave the car on and lock it with another key. But it's yeah, pretty awesome having a little puppy to take with me. Not a little puppy anymore, kind of a big puppy. But so thank you all. It's great to see some beautiful beautiful people back. Yeah, Dina. Yeah, thank you. I don't know anybody that's lost as many as me. I know like people like Scriptkeeper have lost like a lot over on TikTok, because TikTok obviously censors. That's why you see all those people say, you know, for entertainment purposes only, right? I get annoyed by that, knowing that we have to say that. And check out Snedheads, folks, and connect with fellow amazing awake patriots over on Snedheads. You can connect with them, you can chat with them, and I even have a video calling chat that you can do that's not monitored, that's not listened to like your Facebook Messenger and all that we know for a fact. WhatsApp is being monitored, Instagram, etc. So it's a private social network. And in this day of AI, it's so vital for us to find a safe space where we can interact and not have every single thing that we're doing tracked. As a matter of fact, I could have made sign up to Snedheads even easier. Use your Google account, use your YouTube account. But I didn't do that because I didn't want Google and YouTube, same thing, by the way, Gmail, Google. I didn't want them, by the way, I'll tell you a quick story, but I didn't want them tracking you over to Snedheads. I wanted this to be, you know, your own space, that you could interact with people. We did a tour, not a tour, but a little boat, little thing out on Lady Bird Lake, which is the Colorado River that runs through Austin, to show my sister who was visiting. And there's a Google Google has like the top 10 floors of this one building, and they tried to take over the whole building. And Deloitte and Touche was occupying the rest of the building, so the landlord didn't let them do that. So they bought property and they built a building that blocked the view of those floors that were below them. I mean, that's Google for you, and it's a huge, beautiful building. But it's just like that's Google. Like that's this kind of tyrannical, methodology. But anyway, much love to you all, and thanks for joining me tonight. And please join me tomorrow night, 8 Central Daylight Time, which is 9 on the East Coast and 6 on the West Coast. And I look forward to seeing you then. Please share this out. let people know. I'm back on Facebook on the IndoctriNATION Snedheads page, and David Michael, which is an account that I don't really post anything on because I don't want to lose that one again, because Facebook hasn't given me back my accounts, which would be amazing, because that would be probably 300,000 people that saw my show on Facebook, that I lost all of that. So thank you all. Great to be with you tonight. Great to be starting this week off, and where a lot of things are happening. The exposure of the Democrats continues. This just, these people that have lost their mind. And so much love to us all. See you tomorrow night. Be well. Good night.